85. Channel 85.
Little S, big A, little M. What up, Brandonovich?
So the Bahamas are a great place to vacation.
I've never been there, but I've heard tell of such things.
I've never been there either, but I've seen beautiful pictures of the coastline with nice white beaches from coral reefs.
Pretty blue water, palm trees.
Palm trees. And there are unusual, in some of the islands, unusual what are called blue holes.
Blue holes, huh?
Blue holes.
What about green holes? Or red holes?
I haven't heard any green
I
or
like
red
pink.
holes.
Can there be pink holes?
There could be like pink polka dots on the island.
That would be so cool. Anyway, blue holes, sorry.
Blue
Sidebar.
holes, that's all right. So blue holes were actually formed about 300,000 years ago during an ice age.
Long time.
And at this time, since there was an ice age, the ocean level was a lot lower. So there would have been dry land pretty much from the Bahamas to Florida.
Oh, interesting.
And what are islands now would have been mountains or hills.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And in those islands, or those mountains, there were caves. And those caves have structures called stalagmites, which are like rock icicles that form from the roofs of caves. And it's the water dripping down.
Yep.
The water drips down and deposits minerals that it's picked up going through the groundwater above. Those stalagmites, when you cut across them, have what look like tree rings.
Oh, cool. So
Growth.
what can you tell from those tree rings?
So from those
Tree ring-like things.
those tree ring-like things are deposited in a specific time, and you can tell the time. You can carbon date them. You can know when they were deposited. Something that was noticed. So some time ago, some researchers went into these blue holes, and the water in the blue holes preserved the caves without much destruction. So the stalagmites are preserved from 300,000 years ago.
Cool.
And from 300,000 years ago, and give a timeline of what the climate was like, because in these rock formations we can see the climate.
Because there's all these layers from all of these different events or
Exactly.
climate
And
things.
what was noticed is
Science.
that there's a certain number of iron deposits, and every about 5 times there are rings that have these iron deposits. And these
What does that mean?
The iron deposits coincide with a time just before dramatic climate change.
Oh, why iron?
So iron, the source of the iron is from the Sahara, which is on the other side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, I'm like Bahamas, Sahara. What?
So before these dramatic climate change periods, there would be a drought in the Sahara, and it would be dry enough that windstorms would pick up the dust, carry it all the way across the Atlantic, deposit it on these hills. When rain would fall, it would bring the water and the iron down through, and it would be deposited in these stalagmites.
Thus forming a layer of iron.
Thus forming a layer of iron.
Whoa.
Yes, whoa.
I had no idea that stalagmites could tell us that much about things. I didn't really know what they were, to be perfectly honest, except pointy.
Now, unfortunately...
Uh-oh, there's always an unfortunately with this kid.
They tell us something that could be a little frightening.
And that is?
That is that we are currently in a period where the Sahara is in a drought, and dust storms are carrying dust from the Sahara to the region of the Bahamas.
Which means that we're looking at potentially having a dramatic climate change in the near future?
Well, looking in these stalagmites and all of the periods when the dust storms happened and the iron deposits formed, it was preceded dramatic climate change, and that could indicate that we are in a period similar to those periods before.
Okay, so we think we're going to go cold or hot? I vote hot.
Why hot?
'Cause snow's so wet and mushy.
And hard to walk on. I
Yeah.
slip a lot.
I do too.
Even though I seem to enjoy what I'm calling snowshoeing, even though I'm just like walking in boots wearing yak tracks. And that's not
And
a product
on that
placement.
note, we're going to end this episode with the yak track comment. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about stalagmites and what they can tell us, and if you think that there's this drastic climate change coming up, because this kid seems to think there is, let us know on scientificstation.com.